What if I told you that the Gunsmith is actually lying to you in Battlefield 6? The attachment seems self-explanatory, but there are actually hidden benefits or penalties hiding behind most of the attachments. But you don't need to worry. In today's video, I'm going to show you what these stats are and teach you how to build these weapons to benefit your playstyle. So I'll quit wasting time and get straight into the video. To get this started, we need to talk about the descriptions of the attachments. The descriptions actually aren't telling you the whole truth. Most attachments actually carry hidden benefits or penalties that the devs neglected to put into the descriptions. The stat bars can actually be a bit vague as well, but they are more accurate than the attachment descriptions. Your hipfire stat has to do with how tight your bullet spread is when you're firing from the hip. Precision is how tight your bullets group while firing in ADS. Control involves vertical and horizontal recoil, first shot recoil, recoil buildup, and recoil recovery. And mobility involves your ADS speed, sprint to fire speed, weapon draw speed, movement speed, and ADS movement speed. And if you hit C or whatever it is on your controller, you'll see a more detailed description of what's going on with your weapon. You'll have your firing mode, your reload time, muzzle velocity, ADS time, and then your headshot multiplier. These are the things you really need to be paying attention to when you're building your weapon, because these will actually show you what's going on when you're choosing your attachments. For example, we'll take a look at the compensated brake. The compensated brake actually slightly increases precision, which isn't mentioned in the description. It is only a 1-point difference, so the benefit is minuscule, but it is worth mentioning. The converter, on the other hand, actually lowers your control stat and slightly improves the precision stat, even though it says it's improving your horizontal recoil. And if we take a look at barrels, you'll see that the heavy barrel actually penalizes ADS speed and sprint to fire time, which it doesn't say in the description. If we take a look at the heavy extended barrel, you'll see that it actually penalizes ADS speed and sprint to fire time, which also isn't mentioned in the description. And foregrips are probably the most tricky out of all the attachments. What's really important to know is that the recoil control is actually different depending on what other benefits you're getting on your foregrips. For example, we're going to look at the ribbed vertical, canted stubby, and full angled grips, since they all moderately reduce recoil. If you take a look at the stat bars, you'll see that the full angled grip brings your control up to 51 points. But if we take a look at the canted stubby or the ribbed vertical grips, you'll see that it goes up to 53 points. And that's because the full angled grip gives you extra ADS speed and weapon draw speed. And that's going to be the same across all these foregrips. If we take a look at the slim angled grip, you'll see that it brings the control up to 48 points. But the ribbed stubby and alloy vertical grips bring the control up to 51 points because they aren't carrying as many benefits. One thing I'm sure plenty of people don't know is that the magazines actually affect your weapon sway depending on how big or small the magazine size is. For example, we'll get started with the 20 round mag. While we look at this target, you'll see that the sway is pretty insignificant. There isn't a lot of movement going on while I'm aiming at this target. But if I were to switch to a 45 round magazine, you'll see that the weapon sway gets significantly worse. While I aim at this target, you'll see that it moves around a lot more. So if you're doing things like moving up or down stairs or moving around rugged terrain while aiming down sights, it's going to be significantly harder to get your reticle on a target. And the last thing I want to talk about is the ammo types. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory, and a lot of them aren't carrying any hidden benefits, except for the penetration ammo. Obviously, you're trading recoil for improved penetration, but if you look at the stat bars, it brings down your precision by 1 point, which is also pretty minuscule, but it's worth noting. As far as I'm aware, the rest of the attachments don't carry any hidden benefits or penalties, so let's get straight into building these weapons. And obviously, we're going to get started with the B36. Since the B36 is a pretty versatile gun, you can pretty much build it however you want, and it'll work pretty good. And in my opinion, the suppressors are incredibly strong since they fully hide in-world spotting and reduces the range where you're spotted on the minimap while firing, down to 15 meters. If you wanted to equip a suppressor, I would say the standard or CQB suppressor is the best way to go if you don't want any penalties, but if you want any extra recoil control, then the lightened suppressor or the long suppressor would be the way to go, since they both reduce recoil buildup and improve recoil recovery. The long suppressor does give you extra weapon sway, so it would be better to stay away from this attachment unless you don't really have enough points to take anything else. But since the B36 already has pretty decent recoil, it's not that hard to control, I'm just going to choose the standard suppressor. For the barrel, you have plenty of great options. The heavy and extended barrels are great by themselves, and obviously the heavy extended barrel comes with extra penalties, but if you wanted to keep this thing at short range, then the short barrel would obviously be the way to go since it improves your hipfire accuracy and gives you a faster ADS time. The light barrel would be one of the best choices in my opinion because the B36 doesn't have the best bullet spread, but since the light barrel is 20 points, I'm going to choose the heavy extended barrel instead since it's 10 points and it's going to improve my firing accuracy over time. Like you've seen already, you have a lot of options for your foregrips. But in my opinion, with a weapon like this, you don't really need to go for any extra recoil control. Choosing the alloy vertical, ribbed stubby, or slim angled grips would be the best way to go for this weapon since it doesn't have a lot of control and it's going to give you extra benefits if you use the ribbed stubby or slim angled grips. In my opinion, the B36 doesn't have bad draw speed, but it does have pretty bad ADS speed. So in my opinion, the ribbed stubby would be the way to go. But if you wanted faster draw speed, you could obviously go for the slim angled grip if you wanted. Keeping weapon sway in mind with the magazines, I am still going to choose the 36 round mag, since the weapon sway really isn't that bad on the B36. If you look at the firing range with 36 round mag, there is some weapon sway, but it's not going to be enough to throw you off a target easily. As for the ammunition type, since I have extra points, I'm going to go for the lightweight ammo just so I have extra ADS movement speed. As for the sight, you should pick whatever benefits your playstyle the most, but I would recommend trying to use lower zoom sights, since high zoom sights will make the recoil feel more intense. And if you take a look at the firing range, you'll see it's not really that hard to control. There is a little bit of side-to-side bounce, but you're going to be able to easily hit your target at almost every range. I would recommend burst firing past 50 meters since it's going to be harder to keep your reticle on target depending on your FOV. And even if you can keep your reticle on target, your bullet spread is going to make your bullets fly past the enemy instead of at the enemy. Now that we have the B36 out of the way, I want to go over an SMG, and since the MP5 is the only SMG I have leveled up, that's what we're going to use. SMGs are a bit too weak to keep up with most other weapons at far ranges, but they have little to no recoil, so they're really easy to use in close to mid-range engagements. To increase the MP5's usefulness in mid to long-range engagements, I'm going to choose the synthetic tip ammo, since it's going to increase my headshot multiplier up to 1.75. For the muzzle, I am going to use the standard suppressor since it hides in-world spotting and reduces the range where I'm spotted while firing. For the barrel, you only have two options, the basic and extended barrels, so obviously I'm going to choose the extended barrel for extra muzzle velocity. Like I said, SMGs have really low recoil, so you don't really need to waste time on a foregrip. For the laser, I'm going to choose the red laser since it slightly improves my hipfire accuracy and it can't be seen by enemies. For the magazine, I am going to choose the 30 round fast mag, mostly because I don't have points for anything else. For the ergonomic slot, I am going to choose the mag catch just to further improve that reload speed. And for the sight, you should honestly choose whatever you want, but obviously since you're going to be using this in close quarters engagements most of the time, you should be using a lower zoom scope. And going into the firing range, as I said, like little to no recoil, it's not that hard to control. And as you'll see on the headshot multipliers, it goes from a 4-shot headshot to a 3-shot headshot at close range. And anything between 20 meters and 80 meters is going to be a 4-shot headshot. And with SMGs out of the way, we're going to go over an LMG, the DRS-IAR. One of my favorite things about this LMG is that you can build it however you want, and 90% of the time it's going to work. For starters, I'm going to choose the lightened suppressor, since it's going to fully hide in-world spotting and reduce the range where I'm spotted while firing, on top of reducing my recoil buildup and improving recoil recovery, only at the cost of hipfire accuracy. For the barrel, I am going to choose the heavy extended barrel again, just so I can get the extra muzzle velocity and so I can get the extra ADS accuracy over time. Even though this LMG has 46 points of control, the recoil is still kind of bad, so I'm going to choose the canted stubby so I can get the extra recoil control and ADS speed. Even though this does penalize your ADS accuracy while moving, the heavy extended barrel does a pretty good job at negating that effect. I'm also going to choose the 36 round mag again because the weapon sway isn't that bad and I really don't have enough points for anything else. And again, for the sight, you should choose whatever you're comfortable with. And if we take this gun into the firing range, you'll see again, little to no recoil. It's not that hard to control at all. Obviously, I would recommend bursting past 50 meters as well as with any gun really. But this gun specifically is actually pretty easy to burst as long as you're bursting a little slower than other guns. This gun obviously looks good in the firing range, but to get a real good idea of how this weapon feels, you're going to need to take it in-game and really stress out the bullet spread, and see how good it feels in close to mid-range with the sprint to fire and weapon draw time. But regardless, it really isn't going to hurt you that much. So there you have it. Next time you're in the Gunsmith, try these builds out and feel the difference yourself. Your goal in the Gunsmith is to create a setup that works for your playstyle and synergizes with your class. Now, instead of chasing metas, you can build them yourself. If this video helped you out, then hit that subscribe button to keep up with more tips, tricks, and guides in Battlefield 6. And don't forget to drop a like. If you're looking to become the backbone of your squad, then click on the video at the top right corner to get all you need to know for the support class in Battlefield 6. There isn't much more to say, so I'll see you in the next video.